Welcome to Modern History, Module 05, focusing on the evolution of colonial India. We will comprehensively study the administrative, social, and political transformations that took place under the British Raj. Our first topic is the Revolt of 1857, a major uprising against the British East India Company. Often called the Sepoy Mutiny, or India's First War of Independence, it was triggered by the introduction of greased cartridges and other long-standing grievances. Here is a practice question from 2015. Which place did Kunwar Singh, a leader during the Revolt of 1857, belong to? The correct answer is Bihar. Kunwar Singh, the Lion of Bihar, led the resistance at age 80 from Jagdishpur. He was a master of guerrilla warfare and won the Battle of Arrah. Other options for the revolt include Tatya Tope and Rani Laxmibai in Madhya Pradesh. This table summarizes the main centers of the 1857 revolt and their prominent leaders. Key figures include Babu Kunwar Singh in Bihar, Nana Sahib and Tatya Tope in Kanpur, and Rani Laxmibai in Jhansi. Looking at the key facts and analysis, Statement 1 is correct. Troops in Indore revolted, despite the loyalty of Maharaja Tukoji Rao Holkar II. Statement 2 is incorrect, because Mangal Pandey was executed at Barakpur, not Meerut. Statements 3 and 4 are correct. Tantia Tope was a prominent leader at Kanpur and Jhansi. The Scindia ruler of Gwalior, Jayajirao Scindia, fled and sought British refuge. The timeline shows the escalation from Mangal Pandey's attack in March to the full revolt on May 10, 1857. Our second practice question from 2019 asks the main reason for the peasants to join the 1857 revolt. The correct answer is all of these. High taxes, loss of land due to new laws, and general dissatisfaction with the corrupt British system were all factors. To summarize the statements, the Indore Revolt, Tantia Tope's leadership, and the flight of the Scindia ruler are correct facts about the revolt. Only the location of Mangal Pandey's execution being Barakpur, not Meerut, is incorrect. Next, we examine the arrival of Europeans and the British conquest. The chronological order is Portuguese, Dutch, English, Danish, and French, which can be remembered using the acronym PDEDF. The Portuguese were the first to arrive in 1498 with Vasco da Gama, and the last to leave in 1961. The Dutch arrived in 1605, established their first factory at Masulipatam, but focused more on Indonesia, exiting India after the Battle of Bidara in 1759. The English arrived in 1608, establishing their first factories in Masulipatam and Surat, and eventually defeating all rivals. The Danish arrived in 1616, but sold their settlements to the British in 1845. The French arrived last in 1664 and became the main rivals to the British. Here is a quick reference summary of the European nations, their year of arrival, and the location and year of their first factory in India. The British eliminated their European rivals through decisive conflicts. The Battle of Bidara removed the Dutch, and the Battle of Wandiwash restricted the French. The Anglo-Danish rivalry ended with a commercial sale in 1845. Our question asks when Ranjit Singh signed the Treaty of Perpetual Friendship with the British at Amritsar. The correct answer is 1809. The Minto-Metcalfe Treaty established the Sutlej River as the boundary between the Sikh Empire and British territories. The Carnatic Wars and European rivalries saw three key treaties that solidified British supremacy over the French. The Treaty of Aix-la-Chapelle in 1748 ended the First Carnatic War, and the Treaty of Pondicherry in 1754 ended the Second War. The Treaty of Paris in 1763 concluded the Third Carnatic War, restricting French presence to purely trading posts. The Anglo-Mysore Wars marked the subjugation of the Kingdom of Mysore by the British East India Company. Key treaties include the Treaty of Madras in 1769, the Treaty of Mangalore in 1784, and the Treaty of Seringapatam in 1792, which saw Tipu Sultan surrender half his territory. The Anglo-Maratha Wars were influenced by internal Maratha divisions, allowing the British to divide and rule. Significant agreements include the treaties of Surat, 1775, Purandar, 1776, Salbai, 1782, Bassein, 1802, Deogaon, 1803, and Pune, 1817, which dissolved the Maratha Confederacy. Other crucial frontier treaties defined British India's boundaries with neighboring kingdoms. The Treaty of Allahabad in 1765 granted Diwani rights to the British. The Treaty of Sagauli, 1816, established boundaries with Nepal, while the treaties of Yandabo, 1826, and Lahore, 1846, solidified control over Assam and parts of Punjab respectively. The Treaty of Bassein, concluded on December 31, 1802, was signed between the British East India Company and Baji Rao II, the Maratha leader. This happened after Baji Rao II lost a battle and sought British military aid. The Portuguese were the first European nation to bring printing presses to India in 1556, establishing it in Goa. The first book was published a year later in 1557 by Jesuit missionaries. The British began commercial tea cultivation in Assam. Robert Fortune was instrumental in industrializing tea production and commercializing the local resources in India. Bombay was originally acquired by the English from the Portuguese. The islands were given to the British Crown as part of the dowry when Portuguese Princess Catherine of Braganza married King Charles II of England in 1661. The Bombay dowry story confirms that the city was a wedding gift from the Portuguese in 1661. This historical context helps rule out other European powers who settled much later or focused on the eastern coast. The Treaty of Surat in 1775 was concluded between the British and Raghunath Rao. In exchange for military assistance to become Peshwa, he ceded Salsette and Bassein to the British. Raghunath Rao, a claimant to the Peshwa throne, signed the Treaty of Surat in 1775. This agreement provided him with military aid in exchange for ceding Salsette and Bassein, ultimately sparking the First Anglo-Maratha War. The Maratha Chhatrapatis began with Shivaji Maharaj, who founded the empire. Over time, administrative powers shifted to the Peshwas, as seen during the rule of Shahu I and Rajaram II. The Peshwas, or prime ministers, eventually became the de facto rulers of the Maratha Empire. Key figures like Balaji Vishwanath made the post hereditary, and Baji Rao II's treaty with the British led to the end of the Peshwaship. Odisha was formally annexed into the British Empire in 1803 during the Second Anglo-Maratha War under the tenure of Governor-General Lord Wellesley. The region was brought under the East India Company's direct control after the defeat of the Bonsals of Nagpur. Before the British arrival, Odisha was under fragmented sovereignty. The Bonsals of Nagpur ruled coastal Odisha, but the region suffered from heavy taxation and was politically divided under different regional powers. The British annexed Odisha in 1803 under Lord Wellesley to create a direct land route between Calcutta and Madras. The conquest was secured through the Treaty of Deogan and by Colonel Harcourt's clever strategy of protecting the Jagannath Temple. British rule in Odisha saw resistance, such as the Paika Rebellion of 1817, and systemic marginalization, including the devastating Naanka famine. This later led to the Odia language movement and the formation of Odisha State on a linguistic basis in 1936. The matching exercise covers key colonial policies and their impact on Odisha. The correct sequence is A4, B5, C-1, D3, E2, linking policies like the permanent settlement and slavery abolition to specific consequences in Odisha. The British East India Company considered itself the paramount power in India after defeating the Bond sale in 1818. This victory solidified British dominance over the Maratha Confederacy. The correct option is defeating Bond sale in 1818, which occurred during the Third Anglo-Maratha War. This defeat allowed the company to officially adopt the policy of paramountcy, asserting supreme authority. Thank you for watching this video. For any further guidance on history preparation, please reach out to the contact number provided.